All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to do a deep dive into what we want to see with the new Nintendo Switch 2. So recently, there's been a lot of discussion online about what the Nintendo is going to be, when it's going to be available, etc. And there was someone online that leaked some information with regards to a company in Spain that has now access to a developer kit of a new Nintendo console. Now, some people are calling it the Nintendo Switch 2, the Nintendo Switch Pro. I don't know what it's going to be called, but whatever it is, we're very excited to be able to play this thing when it comes out. We love the Nintendo Switch. I think it's definitely one of the greatest Nintendo consoles that's been out in a long time. So I'm hoping that they kind of follow suit with the way they're doing the Switch, but whatever it is, we're excited to talk about it today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to give you our opinions of what we like, what we don't like about the current platform, the Nintendo Switch, and then what we want to see moving forward with the new Nintendo. So let's start off, and all three of us have had a lot of experience with this console at this point. Eli, what are some things that you love about the Nintendo Switch?
I like the ability to be able to play handheld and the TV, both at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but whether I want to do either, I'm able to do it whenever.
You've got the option.
Yeah.
What about you, Russ? What's some of the things you like about the Switch?
I like how it's like a cartridge, and if you have the cartridge, and if you have somebody else, you can let them have it,
Okay, you can borrow other cartridges.
Yeah. And so with CDs, they could get scratched up and messy super easily. Yeah. But with cartridges, it's way easier.
So you've got a durability factor that goes into the cartridge where you can throw it around, lay it around, whatever. It's not just going to get scratched up compared to a CD. And it's easier to share with your friends, family, whatever, if you're going to trade them around, for sure. Me personally, it's definitely what they said, and the fact that Nintendo has low production run requirements for indie companies to make their games available on Nintendo cartridges, I think is wonderful. And right now, Nintendo is kind of on their own little island in regards to competition. They don't really have any for what they are. In my personal opinion, they are the only true home gaming console right now. The Xbox and the PlayStation are great, but let's face it, those are computers. That's really what they are. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you want a system that's more basic, and like they had said, the ability to dock it, play it on TV, pull it off, play it in your hand, change cartridges quickly in and out to play different games, the Switch does it. And it's great not only for kids, but for adults or whoever. So I think they've got their own kind of monopoly going on that type of video game console. And I wish Sega could come back into the game and compete with them. Wish Atari would do something a little different than what they did with their VCS as well. But for the Switch, I like everything that they said. And again, low production run quantities. I think that for what it is, although the Switch at this point is dated and the hardware shows it, it's still able to run a lot of games quite well when you compare it to the much more powerful Xbox or the PlayStation. Now let's think about some of the things that we don't like about the current Switch. Eli, what are some things that you don't like?
I think a big change. Okay, so I think the controllers for the actual Switch aren't too great. I mean,
the Joy-Cons?
Good. Yes, the Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller and stuff. I mean, they're all right, and they're good, but they could definitely be better.
Okay. And what about you, Russ? What's something that you don't like about it?
Sometimes there's this glitch that happens. So it says that you need to to turn on the controllers, and you do it, right? But it tells you have to take them off.
Okay. So connecting the controllers.
Yeah.
And that's for the Joy-Cons, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So similar back to the controller issue, right? For me, I think I would agree. Although it doesn't have quite the graphic capabilities as the Xbox or PlayStation, honestly, that doesn't really matter to me. I think it needs to be able to function well in your hands. As far as the comfort level, I think that the Joy-Cons could be made a little better so that they fit in your hands well. And right now, I think they're made more for maybe a child's hands, which there's nothing wrong with that. But what I would like to see is them to be able to modify that a little bit better. As well, the Pro controller, although it's a good controller, the batteries last a long time. I can still get drifts sometimes, and the Joy-Cons as well. Once you use these things enough, they get worn out more so than what I've noticed with our Xbox controller or PlayStation controllers. So I agree. I think right now the biggest problem for the Switch is the controllers, and that's something that should be fixable. So, you know, there are a number of things, and let's talk about now, I guess, what do we want to see out of the next generation, whether it's a Switch 2 or whatever console it may be. Eli, what do you want to see out of the new Nintendo?
Definitely the controllers is a big one, but more so the factor I think it would maybe better looking games. I know it's
Graphically, you mean?
Yes. I mean, the graphics aren't that big of a deal, but even if it just had like a little bit better, it'd still be better than what it is right now.
Okay. Russ, what about you? What would you like to see improved?
You know how on like the DS Lite and the DS and stuff, you can plug in like Game Boy Advanced games?
Okay.
Like I want cartridges that have the old games.
Okay.
And you know how like the cartridges probably wouldn't work, like just the normal ones for the actual console. What if they made separate like new ones for the different like the old games? Besides having to have the like the online membership.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So I think there's a couple points that Russ touched upon there that's very important for this new console. Backwards compatibility is one. I mean, not only, you know, he's talking about the DS and things, but even if we just focus on this generation of Switch that's going to be coming to an end pretty soon, hopefully Nintendo follows suit and they make that exact same cartridge size and backwards compatibility to the Switch. So any games that you're buying right now for the Switch, you'll be able to play on the new one. That's a big one. Hopefully we can do that. And I think the other point that Russ was making was the ability to be able for them to maybe reissue older games that came out under other consoles on the new, whatever platform it is, cartridge, so that you can have access to play those older games. And yeah, I think that's good. And Nintendo, Sega, they've all been doing that to some extent. But maybe if they could do that a little bit more often so that kids and adults could have access to games that maybe otherwise they wouldn't have access to. Also, again, huge focus on the controllers. Let's see them make a Joy-Con that's got a removable grip on the back that'll fit a child's hand or an adult's hand. I think that would be fantastic. Get rid of the issues that they're having so that they don't have any more drift problems, not only in the Joy-Cons, but in their Pro controller. The form, as far as the fit in your hands and everything, Pro controller's fine. The buttons are fine, everything. It's just they have drift in that as well. I think that needs to be fixed. It's something that Nintendo's got the time and money to put into, so just do it. Also, you know, we obviously want to see an upgrade on the hardware, improved graphics, improved screen, and I think that's kind of a given. The Switch now has kind of gotten to the end of its lifetime, and the games are showing it. It's just when you look at the newer games from Xbox, PlayStation, the graphics are so much better because they're newer. So, well, that and their capabilities, but let's just focus on, I guess, for what the Nintendo Switch is. Hopefully, whatever they come out with will have some upgraded hardware to be able to play some of these modern games. And maybe they can't pull off quite as good a graphics as those other two consoles, but do as good as they can with what they've got. And with the size constraints, because if they stick with the handheld version like they got now, they don't have a lot of room inside like the Xbox or the PlayStation is. It's got to fit in your hand. So I think that's a key driver as well. But, you know, all in all, we're very happy with our Nintendo Switch. We hope that whatever Nintendo comes up with, it's as good as or better than the last multiple years that we've had with the Nintendo Switch. And until next time, thank you for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and keep gaming.